So this is a video I was going to record almost a week ago now, but then something happened in that game for England against Austria, which changed the England squad a little bit. And this morning, as I record this, Gareth Southgate announced a little change to his England squad, so now I can react to the proper, full, final England squad for Euro 2020 from a Scotsman's perspective. Perhaps a Scottish football fan will be a bit more subjective about it than what an English football fan may be. Or maybe I'm just going to slag it off just as much as a lot of you seem to be doing. Yes, hello, welcome on into Living Sports here for a little bit of a different video. I say it's my reaction to the England Euro 2020 squad, the final squad, now that Trent is no longer there after his injury. There's a lot of debate about whether or not he was actually going to get there anyway. And after he did, he decided to get himself injured, so he was replaced this morning. We'll talk about that in just a minute. If you are new around here, then please do hit that subscribe button if you like what you see. I'm talking a lot about the Euros just now, but there's a lot of Football Manager-based content to see me playing through. It's the Kelly Boys at the moment, but there are quite a few projects I have planned coming up about the Euros and stuff like that, so maybe stick around for that. It could be quite interesting to see. Please, as I say, subscribe if you like what you see, and hit a wee like on the video as well should you enjoy this kind of Scots person's perspective on the England squad. Now here is the final England squad. I've popped it in a little Excel spreadsheet to split it into positions because the England announcement was squad numbers after the update with Ben White into it, and that wasn't really particularly easy to see all the positions that you have. So the squad, I would say, is in front of us. I'm sure it's one that you already know, but I'll quickly jump through it. Three keepers, Pickford, Henderson and Johnson. Walker, Trippier and James, just the three right backs now. Stones, Maguire, Mings, Cody and Ben White, who was added on Monday morning to the squad, having only played 2 games for England, having only just been called up in the 33-man squad. I'll come on to that in a minute. Sean Caldwell, Shaw and Chilwell at left back. Rice, Henderson, Phillips and Bellingham have classed as central midfielders. Attacking midfielders I've counted as Mount, Foden and Grealish, but I mean Foden and Grealish could really count as wingers if you wanted. In the winger section we've got Sterling, Sancho, Rashford and Saka, and up front is Harry Kane and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So I suppose the big bit to talk about, obviously, is the Trent Alexander-Arnold injury, which means that Ben White comes into that England squad for his first big kind of call-up. Obviously, he was called up for the first couple of games, and now his first taste of proper action in an England shirt is going to be at the Euros. Looking at this squad as a whole and seeing what Southgate has done with bringing up Ben White, my thoughts are surely England are going to go with 3 at the back then. That to me seems like the only obvious reason to bring an extra centre back after already having a right back. I thought possibly with Trent it would mean that Walker was going to play as a centre back and play 3 at the back. I know that during the friendlies he's not played 4 at the back, but I have a feeling that might happen. And I also think that Ben White's injury means Harry Maguire must not be anywhere near being fit, because he wants more cover at that centre back. And if you don't have Maguire in the team, I don't know if England have got strong enough centre backs, like a pairing of Stones and Mings, for example, or Stones and White. It's not really strong enough at the international level of competition compared to the rest of the England squad anyway. So I think that means you're going to be playing 3 at the back, which I know for a lot of England fans they don't like. But it makes you a little bit more solid at the back. But I agree, when you look at the players that you have further forward, surely you can't be wasting half your outfield players on defenders. In goal, I think everyone knows, obviously, Pickford's going to play because Gareth likes his ball-playing ability. On the right-hand side, you're blessed with right backs. Walker, Trippier, James. I'll be honest, when 4 were announced, I wasn't surprised because you have got really, really good right backs there. But I think it's likely that James or Trippier is going to be playing out there on that right-hand side. Probably Trippier because Gareth likes Trippier. And Walker would be playing at centre-back, the right side of a 3 centre-back, I imagine, is what Gareth imagines for him. I say Stones and Maguire, a very solid centre-back partnership, but Mings, Nothing against Mings. I know that he's been in the squad for quite a while now. I think Gareth likes that left-footed option for left centre back sometimes, but I'm not sure if he's even the best centre back from England from Aston Villa. The way Konsa was playing this year, I thought Konsa was maybe better than Mings at some point. So I feel Mings is fairly, maybe lucky to give him the squad's a bit harsh, but the fact that he's your third choice centre back is maybe slightly worrying. Connor Cody, I think that is the evidence that he might be playing three at the back, because obviously he's used to playing that system at Wolves. Wolves haven't obviously had a great year this year, Connor Cody being that captain, but I think that's one of the reasons why Cody's in the team as well, the fact that he is a captain. There's a lot of inexperience in this squad, so having a leader in there, I think, in the squad, even if he's not playing in the game, is going to be quite important. And that could be another reason why White's in there as well, because he's very much a leader as well in that Brighton dressing room. So I imagine he'll bring that sort of personality to England as well. Ben White also, in his actual debut, the first friendly that you played, he came on to play at holding midfield against Austria. So I think that is Gareth's idea, to have him as option to cover in midfield as well as at the back, because Maguire, as I said, doesn't look like he's going to be fit for the start of the tournament, and Henderson's only coming back to fitness as well. So if they're both not fit, those players, so White gives cover in both those positions. And to be honest, I can understand why Gareth's done it. Personally, I wouldn't have done it. I don't think you need 5 centre backs in the squad, but the reason you do need 5 centre backs is because Maguire's not fit. And if Maguire's not fit, then why are you bringing him? And my only guess is you want him to be fit further down the line, but it's been a month he's not been doing anything, so I have questions there. At left back, I don't think I have any arguments. Sean Chilwell played very well. I just realised I'd spelt Chilwell wrong through the first half of this video, so pretend that wasn't the case. Chilwell spelt correctly now. Sean Chilwell, I say, I don't think I can argue about them. The two of them are probably the best left backs England do have, and they both have to be in the squad. Moving into midfield, Declan Rice is probably one of your, I know it seems strange to talk about defensive midfield like that, but probably one of the most important players in your team. He's so great in there at that kind of holding midfield role. Henderson, very good as well, but again, not really played any football coming up to this, so I wonder how fit he's going to be for the tournament. Calvin Phillips is another similar player like that, setting back to be a much more solid kind of double pivot, and I think that's the way Gareth is going to play. I know a lot of people who would like him to play more forward-thinking central midfielders, but I think he cares more about solidity to start with, and he'll have 2 holding midfielders in there. Likely, if both were fit, would be Rice and Henderson. Maybe he'll go Wright and Phillips. And he's got Jude Bellingham in there as well, who I think is a really great number 8. No, he's not a 6, he doesn't sit. He goes up and down, box to box midfielder. I know he's 17 years of age, or however young he is, but he's a cracking player. The fact that he can be playing for Dortmund as well as he has been, both him and his Dortmund teammate have been playing great for Dortmund this year, especially the later half of the year. Bellingham and Sancho, both of them have been great. Bellingham could very easily start, and I don't think many England fans would have complaints, but I don't think Gareth's going to do that. But Bellingham's a really, really good player in that midfield, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he does, with this being his first full kind of call-up after coming through the young squads. 3 players I've classed as attacking mids is Mason Mount, Foden and Grealish. I mean, I think if you could fit them all in, I think a lot of people would quite like that. If you imagine a front or in behind Harry Kane is Grealish, Foden and Mount, I think a lot of people will be fairly happy with that. Don't think it's going to happen though. I think they'll be lucky if you have 2 of them in it. Maybe you're not even going to have that. I think Mason Mount, Gareth sees him as an attacking mid, but you could very easily play him in central midfield as well. He's been doing that job for Chelsea quite a lot, and he has a much more advanced kind of central midfield plan. If you're playing 3 in central midfield, Mount can be one of those ahead, probably Declan Rice, Bellingham and Mount. That's not going to happen, but that'd be really exciting for England. It's probably going to be something like a Rice Henderson and Mount, or a Rice Phillips and Mount, I imagine, in the centre of the park there. Looking at the players who could perhaps be playing behind the striker on the wing position as well, we've got Sterling, Sancho, Rashford and Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka is great for this squad. He can play across a whole load of positions, so he could be very, very handy indeed. Obviously scoring his first international goal as well just a few days ago. I think Grealish is amazing, but again, coming back from an injury, how fit is he going to be playing all these games in such quick succession? Foden is unbelievable, just won the young player the season in the league. You're blessed as England with these attacking talents, but unfortunately for you, Gareth Southgate is just not going to play all of them, I don't think. I think he might rely on old faithful Raheem Sterling. Nothing against Sterling, he's a great player, but there's so many people I would pick to play in those attacking positions before Sterling for England. Foden being one of them, Grealish being one, Sancho being another. I'd even probably say Rashford ahead of Sterling. And I know that's perhaps a controversial opinion, but Rashford, I feel as he's got that, obviously that engine going up and down. You can play up front as well. I know Sterling sometimes can, but some of his finishing is pretty woeful. And talking about people finishing, you've obviously Harry Kane and Calvert-Lewin. I would be worried if you had an injury to Kane, because that would just leave Calvert-Lewin, and then the other options are obviously Rashford or Sterling up there, but there's not a huge amount of depth. I suppose if you only play one up front, maybe you don't want to bring 3 or 4 strikers. Certainly you don't want to bring 3 strikers who can only play up front, so Rashford could easily count as a striker here and could be in that instead of on the wings. But yeah, it's not a lot of depth up there, and looking further back, there's a huge amount of talent that I just don't think Gareth's going to use, unfortunately. If I were to pick a team, obviously this is based on a fully fit squad, it would have to be Jordan Pickford in goal. I'm gonna colour this in green. Jordan Pickford in goal, I would say. At right back, you've got so many great talents here. James, Trippier, Walker. I think I would pick Walker just for his experience. He's obviously got great pace as well. James, I think, is going to be your right back of the future. I know that's controversial with Alexander-Arnold there, but I think James could be that one of the future. Trippier's there. Obviously, he's just won La Liga, but Gareth really likes him for the experience, and he very easily could play there. But I think if you're going to do it, Walker would be. This is me. I'm going to play 4 at the back. And this isn't what I think Gareth would do, but this is what I would do. I'd play 4 at the back, obviously with Walker and with Stones and Maguire at centre back. Very solid centre back partnership. And the way that Shaw has played this season for Man United warrants that place at left back, I think, personally. In midfield, first name on the sheet there is Rice. I would play 3 in the middle of the park. Rice just behind another 2. And Mason Mount is going to be one of those 2 in front of him. Depending on your opponent, you'd maybe decide, would you play a Jordan Henderson in there? Would you play a Calvin Phillips in there? Personally, I'd go Bellingham. I think he's great. I think you just got to get him in that team and get him to play. Rice sitting in behind Bellingham and Mount. And that means you've got space for 2 wide attackers as well. And you've already got Mount in the team. He's not going to take up one of the spaces in behind the striker. Before we even talk about wide players, let's talk about Kane up front. Obviously, one of the best strikers in the world, if not the best striker in the world. So he would get the game for me up there. And then I'm looking at all the other players you've got. Sancho, someone who I'd really like to be playing on the wing. But I don't think you can look past Grealish on one side and Foden on the other. This is how I would play. I wouldn't have any of Sterling, Sancho or Rashford on the field to begin with. I'd have Foden and Grealish there with their trickery. They're going to have to break through lines. People are going to sit really, really deep up against England. And you can't have pace to get in behind because there's nowhere to get in behind. So someone like a Rashford who can get behind folk, Sterling, Sancho, I know they've got skill as well, but they've got a lot of pace. They're not going to be able to do that. Grealish is the most foul player in the Premier League. He's got such quick feet, such great feet, trickery, movement, in and out of other defenders. You know, I think he'd be great in there. And Foden has been a revelation when he's been playing. I know he's not started the games for Man City, but you can't really say that about many of the players from Man City. There's so much rotation there. But he's got that similar sort of mentality. Imagine Foden coming in off the right, Grealish coming in off the left, and you've got the fullbacks bombing on them, Walker and Shaw, Stones and Maguire comfortable at centre-back with Rice just sitting in front of them, and Bellingham and Mount doing whatever they want in the midfield. That would be such a great team for England. But unfortunately, that's not what Gareth's going to do, is it? Let's be honest. He's going to be much more defensive, possibly 5 at the back. Definitely 2 holding midfield players. I've got 3 of these players here, Mount, Foden and Grealish in the team. He might only have 1 of those in the team. And I've got all 3. And he'd only have the 1 in there. So I feel sorry for you, actually. You've got such great attacking talent and it's just not going to be used. Coming from a Scotland fan perspective, who's a Kilmarnock fan, I'm used to Steve Clarke, you know, being nice and defensively solid and you know, happy to counter. But we don't have the wealth of attacking talent as Foden and Grealish and Mount. Our equivalents to that are players like Ryan Christie and Che Adams. John McGinn's a cracking player. I'm not sure if he'd get in the England team, but he'd certainly give it a shout. But he's much more of a central midfield. He's kind of that Bellingham role, maybe that Mount role. But it's these players in behind the striker, Foden and Grealish, we've got to get them on the field 100%. They are so great at what they do. And that's what you're going to need in these games that are tight and you've got to get through, two banks of 4 or a bank of 4 and 5. They'd be great players to do that. And that is a Scottish fan's opinion on the England squad. I don't know how controversial it is, but I think all in all it's a fairly good squad. Somebody who I think could be upset about missing out is James Ward-Prowse, especially with the fact that Henderson is injured or coming back from an injury, maybe to give cover in there. But I can understand why Gareth has went for White, because he can cover the defence because of Maguire's injury and also a little bit of the holding midfield as well. My only worry for you, as I say, is there's a lot of defensive-minded midfielders then if you include White there, alongside Rice and Phillips and Henderson. So I don't know how many of these attacking talents you would get in the team, unfortunately. But yeah, that is a Scottish fan's perspective on the England squad for the Euros. I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, then please do leave it a like. It really does help out the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already for more Euros content throughout these European Football Championships. And there's some Football Manager playthroughs as well for you to watch. They're very interesting as well. There's some wee ones. Wee projects just coming up. I've been kind of teasing this over the last few videos. There's some projects that's coming up in the next few weeks and months. It could be very interesting. So I suggest you subscribe so you don't miss those. And until the next video, we'll see you then.